Hi and welcome to the second episode of how to play the minor pentatonic scale, in this instance the E minor pentatonic scale. This is the second episode and we are covering all 5 positions of the minor pentatonic scale. The minor pentatonic scale, which holds 5 notes, and last time we took the root position from the lowest note on the instrument, E, and we played it here. So these are the 5 notes: E, G, A, B, and D. And then it starts all over again because we have the E octave. It's called the octave, where the same note is sounded 1 octave higher. You can hear that. So it's E, G, A, B, D. And we play it in the first position. That means without moving the hand, how many notes of that scale can we play? And the first root position, because E is the root note, was this. That was as far as we can reach in one position. Actually, we can reach a bit further, but this is called the root position. If we're still in the first, I know this is episode 2, but I'll just do a little review of the last one and tell you something that I didn't tell you in the first episode. Because we're using the open strings here, the open E, A, D, and G. So when we are playing the root position, it looks like this. Okay, but what if you want to play the same an octave above? Then you cannot use the root position, and it's a good exercise no matter what you play down in the lower register to move it up. And you know, when you look at the fretboard, we have the low E here and 12 frets above that. It all starts over again. We have the E here. So you can see the 2 dots, dots on the fretboard indicates this is the octave. The E, we have the E here and the E here. So you can play the exact same patterns from here as you did down there. Take the first 4 notes, E, G, A, B, and move up. And now we don't have the luxury of the open strings, we need to use the first finger. And because the frets are so tight up here, we use the 3rd finger like this. Can use the 4th or the 1st. 4th or the 1st, I mean the 4th or the 3rd. So up here, the pattern would be, here we have the E, G, A, and B. So actually I would use 1st finger, 4th, 1st, 3rd, or 1st, 2nd. That depends on what you're playing, how far up you guess. The beautiful thing about patterns on bass or guitar for that matter is once you know one position in one key, you can actually play in all the other keys just by moving it. For instance, this pattern, which we first played using the open string, you play up here. When I move that, it's a totally movable. So here in E, and we played in D, so you can just transpose by moving your finger. That's a good thing about guitar and bass, opposed to other instruments like the piano or the tuba. Okay, a lot of talk about that. Still, the first position, we move it up an octave. It's a good idea to practice these kind of scales, or any scale for that matter. For instance, in groups of 4, so we say, go up the scale, 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go to the next scale note. We started on the E, and from the G you go up 4 notes. Go to the next scale note, A, and go up 4 notes. Next scale note, B, go up 4 notes. Next scale note D, go up 4 notes. Okay, we came to the end of the line in that position. Do the same an octave above. And maybe do the same going down. Taking the top note, in this instance is the A. Okay. All this is just in the root first position of the E minor pentatonic scale, and since this is the episode of covering the second position, I'll do that from now on. Okay, we have the first, we reviewed the first one. Second one is just starting for the next note in the scale, which is the G. And we move our hand from here, so we cover this part of the fretboard. So now we're not using the open strings anymore. We're using the same notes. We're using the A, which is an open string here, and you can find that note on an open string as well. We're using the D here on the 5th fret, which we can find on the open string as well. We're using the G on the 5th fret, which we can find on an open string. And incidentally, this is where you, when you learn to tune the bass, you do it on the 5th fret here, where you can compare to the open strings. But the second position of the minor pentatonic scale, starting on the G here, which is the minor 3rd. And it can be a bit complicated to play this because down in this area the notes are really far apart and maybe you cannot reach. And the thing I do is you shouldn't be, it's not that you should be able to cover all notes like this, but I move my hand, you can see here when I'm playing the first note with my second finger, and then I move it a little bit. I have my thumb anchored more or less, but my fingers are movable. See how I move it here? So don't think you actually have to stretch that far. Okay, let's take the same pattern here, which was G, A, B, D, E, G, A, and B. Move up an octave. So we just again look as this was the open string, which we had before. And we go to the next position, which was the G here. And you just play the same pattern. And actually up here we can use the same fingering. 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3. Like we did down here. So now we actually have learned the two first positions of the minor pentatonic scale, starting with the root position, the next position, and then you might ask, why should I learn these different positions? Because when you play, it's a nice thing to be, or actually to move, you want to move freely on the fretboard. Maybe you're playing something, you can play it like this, you can also say in this way, and when you're moving, for instance, here I was actually moving from this position to this position down to this position, so you want to move freely. Okay, two first positions, first one, second, and then practice moving between the two. That means going up the first, and then you reach the next position, it goes down, up the first, down the second. Do that an octave above as well. Up, down. You can see there's some shifting involved here. So when we go up, and then we have to decide which finger we want to shift on. We do both. First, move first, and then you're in the second. Or you can do it with the third finger. So you actually play the position finished and move the third finger up to the next position. Do that. Maybe do it with some slides. And you can actually see when we're in the key of E minor, this is one of the preferred positions for playing fills. Here I'm actually starting in the second position, and then I'm sliding down to the first root position. You can do the same here. And the thing about when we have the doubling of these notes, the A, the D and the G, we have them both as fretted notes and open string. We can do a lot of other things with them. Let's say this kind of guitaristic thing, which I'm very fond of. You might already have guessed. So you can experiment by doing patterns in that, using both doubling the notes. Okay, so again, this episode was about the second position of the minor pentatonic scale, meaning when you're starting on the second note of the minor pentatonic scale, which is the minor third it's called, and when we're in E, it's a G. And in this instance I use the fingers 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3. This concludes the tutorial on the second position of the E minor pentatonic scale. See ya.